Hello, 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 hello. It's Thursday, and you know what that means? A new episode of Chit Chat with Bernabella. I'm your host, Bernadine, and thank you for tuning in to episode 11. Yes, 11 of Chit Chat with Bernabella. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Drop a comment, say hello. Say hi. If you're tuning in for the first time, welcome. Previous episodes can be found on YouTube. So visit the site, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Also share the live, please, and thank you. This is a talk show where we discuss sports, politics, current affairs, entertainment, a little bit of entertainment gossip, a little bit of news and what's happening in our community and around the world. So if it's a trending topic, we will discuss that as well. Your thoughts and opinions are welcome. You, the viewers are asked to participate. You can ask questions, make comments, give your opinions, etc. Again, it's an interactive show. You may even get invited to join me live in studio virtually. Participation will also give you the opportunity to win the gift of the week. And the gift this week is a week's supply of Latin coffee. And I'll explain a little bit more about the Latin coffee later on in the program. So the aim of the program is just to have a conversation, have some fun. I bring you different topics, different news highlights weekly, and, we'll just enjoy ourselves. So drop a comment. Let me see who's on. Let me see who's with me. And we're going to start. So as usual, if you're tuning in for the first time, I typically start with my artist review. And, my computer is deciding that it wants to act up right now. It's not a good thing. Not good at all. Anyways, it should be good now. So, like I was saying, we usually start with my musical artist preview of the week. Hey, Colleen, how are you? Glad to see that you're checked in. You're here for a while. That's awesome. So, yes, so the artist preview of the week, I'm going to start with, my mouse is acting up. I'm going to start with Dexter Daps. He premiered a new song this week called The Most Wanted. It's a song that has conscious lyrics. It's not one of his regular sexy songs. Dexter is he'll drop a little conscious lyric song ever so often to intertwine with his sexy songs that he typically sings. So this one's got good lyrics. You can meds with it, and it's awesome. Ding Dong and Dre Island also dropped the official video to their song that's called Born Winner. It's another hit song for both Artiste, and it's also a conscious lyric song. So you can check out both videos on Vivo. All right, so staying in the entertainment field, singer Jahmiel Foster, who he sings under the name Jahmiel, was baptized at the Tarrant Baptist Church last Saturday. The 28-year-old artist decided to become a Christian. His manager, Dr. Dave Wallace, head of Sweet Music Production, issued a statement stating that this will not affect or change the music he puts out, as Christianity was always in his music. His music was always on a conscious level, so it should be interesting to see how he moves forward, if he'll take the gospel route or will he stay in the reggae genre. So good luck to him. For those that are just popping in, drop a hi, drop a hello. Let me see who's joined me. And okay, so still staying in the entertainment sector, and I guess I'm going to call this a case of divine intervention. So Harry Toddler, longtime dancehall artist from way back when, so he had a son that he's never seen since birth. He knew about him, but due to circumstances beyond his control, he lost track of both the son and the son's mother. Apparently, the mother also gave up the son to her mother, so the son was raised by his grandmother. It's a whole nother story that he never got into. So Harry said he'd been searching for his son for 18 years with no luck. Okay. So recently, Toddler was doing a music video shoot in Ocho Rios, and someone told him that they know a boy that looks just like him. He said he was so happy to hear that he told Richard, the person he was having a conversation with, to go and get the boy and bring him to him. Anyways, video shoot ended after 3 days because he was only scheduled to be there for 3 days, and they still hadn't gotten back to him with any information on the young man. So he decided to extend his stay at the hotel, waiting for news from Richie or whomever else to get back to him to see if they had any information on the young man. So apparently a few days later, two of Toddler's Linky, them come and said, you know what, they have something to show him. They showed him a picture of a young man, and they also had the young man's number. He said when he looked at it, he cried because he knew he was looking at his long-lost son, Jaquan Jackson. Harry claims that he, walked away to take some time to himself to cry because he never want them really see him cry so hard, because to him knows him finally find his son. So I'm saying after he cooled down, he called his son and have a conversation with him. They've since met up. There's a video on Harry Toddler's IG, and they have plans to, continue the relationship, and for him to meet his other brothers and sisters and Harry's side of the family. So it's a happy ending to this point for them. So we'll see how that goes. But it's awesome that, he said he's been looking for his son for how long, and by coincidence, he found him. So let's see. Enid says, hi, beautiful. Good night. I'm in. Also got my gift. Awesome. I'm glad that you got it. You got it. What's it? So yeah, just, some hot water and you're good. And hey, Ruth, long time no see or talk. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for joining. Hope you will be entertained. Still staying in Jamaica in the entertainment section, dancehall singer Ghost is mourning the loss of his mother, Joan Smith, who died in Atlanta, Georgia on May 25th of heart-related complications. She was 65. Ghost describes his mother as a hardworking single mother. She loved us very much, he said, but dealt with us using tough love. Raising so many boys and my sisters alone, she wanted the best for us. I understand, because she was doing it all alone, he said through a release. She worked very hard to take care of us and would hustle downtown. When she eventually went to America, she became a nurse and started taking care of people in and out of the hospital. She will be deeply missed by the family, friends, and the communities that she lived in, he continued. Ghost's given name is Carlton Hilton. He got his break in the late 1980s as a part of the duo Ghost and Culture, and is best known as a member of the Monster Shack crew, which also comprised of Roundhead and General B. His mother is survived by 6 sons, 2 daughters, 45 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. That's a lot. That's a lot. Oh, Enid said I should say thank you. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You won it, so, you have to send it. So now we're moving on to the sports arena. And this week, I am talking about the Lakers. And why am I talking about the Lakers this week? Because they're not doing so well. They're down 3-2 in their series with Phoenix. And I'm talking about this also because they are the defending champions. They acquired everybody they could in their quest to repeat as champions this season. As soon as they hear that a good player was up, it was available to be signed by a team, them sign a player. So everybody crowned them repeat champions. But the Suns gave them an ass whooping Tuesday night. They lost by 30 points. LeBron was so upset he walked off the floor with 6 minutes left in the game. People are calling him a sore loser. So if they don't make it out of the first round, it would not be a good look for the team because of all the money that they spent to put the team together and, hoping to repeat as champions. So game 6 is actually on tonight at 10. It's win or go home for them. So let's hope that they win that one for their sake. All right. The Blue Jays had a decent week. They've won a few games and lost some, but they still have a winning record and are doing well so far. Their hitters are really doing a good job. They're third in the league in batting percentage, and they have a winning record of 29 games, 29 and 25. TFC have played a few games so far. They've lost 4, draw 2, win 1. They're struggling. Everyone's wondering what's happening with the team. They're not off to a winning start. They're off to their worst start since 2012. The team is presently on an international break and do not play again until June 19th. So we'll hope that the break will do them well. And when they get back together, they will find their winning ways. There's also speculation that star striker Jose Altidore, who's been with the team for a long time, may be released from the team. There's been rumblings regarding discontent in the locker room. So let's hope we're not going back to the early days when the team was very, very dysfunctional and they kept changing coach like twice a year. So let's hope that that's not an issue. Colleen said, the King's about to lose his crown. Well, they better win tonight because that's it. And in hockey news, the Maple Leafs. And for the Leafs fan, I feel sorry for you guys because every year you guys pray for something. And this year seemed as if, something was going to happen. But no. So they were up 3-1 in their series against the Habs. They lost game 5. They lost game 6 and then on to game 7. And people are like, yes, game 7, we're going to win that. We're going to move on. Well, I don't typically watch hockey, so I don't pay much attention to the hockey game and whatever, but I keep a track of the scores and stuff. But, and the other night when the game was on, I really didn't pay attention to it because I was busy doing something else. So then after I went on Twitter and I saw that hashtag choke was trending and immediately thought of the Leafs. And yes, they lost game 7, lost the series after being up 3-1. So they've now gone fishing. It's another season of what if. It's another season of shoulda, coulda, woulda. So, as they always say, on to the next season because, it's just been crazy. So I'm going to take a visit over to France and talk about tennis for a bit. I am an avid tennis fan and there's been some stuff happening in tennis this week and I just want to touch on it a bit. Hey, Marcel, glad that you could check in. So Naomi Osaka withdrew from the French Open due to anxiety and mental issues. So the backstory is the French Open started earlier this week. It started on Monday. And prior to the start of the tournament, Naomi, who is the number 2 ranked female player in the world, stated that she would not be answering questions or doing any interview until the end of the tournament or her last match played, whichever came first. She stated this was in order for her to maintain her mental health and that she gets anxiety having to do those interviews after each match. And So there was a big uproar, about that's what they're paid for. It's a part of their contract. Nobody took into consideration, the mental health of the athletes, because to most people forget that athletes are people. So she played her first match. She won her first match. She didn't do an interview. She was fined $15,000. She was also told that she would be fined for each round she played and won and didn't do an interview. And she could also be ineligible to play in other WTA matches. After that statements from the organizers, she withdrew from the tournament, right? So Naomi, if we put it into perspective, she's only 23. And because a couple of years ago, she won a couple of big matches and she's been winning since, the media spotlight on her has gotten brighter and brighter. And she did allude to her mental health and how it causes her anxiety in several interviews that she's done over the last couple of years, right? She's still maturing. She's not everybody's tough enough to deal with the media and the glare of being a prominent athlete. Okay. So, while dealing with the organization, the Roland Garros, they didn't do anything. They didn't work to accommodate her and set up for some sort of protocol. And she's not the first player that have come out and stated that she, deals with mental issues. And then this took me back to when Serena and Venus had just come into the league. And I mean, what the media is doing now with Naomi is nothing on any level compared to what Serena and Venus had to go through during their early days of playing. Like, there were a few places that they boycotted because they never would, like, I think Sacramento and Cincinnati, they never played in those tournaments because of how the racism they encountered in those cities. So as the media, in doing their interviews recently, asked Venus her perspective on the situation with Naomi. And the answer she gave them was awesome. She said, she empathizes with Osaka's plight, and she made it abundantly clear that she refuses to allow the media to spell her doom. She said, "For me personally, how I deal with it was that I know that every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will," the 40-year-old said. "So no matter what you say or what you write, you'll never light a candle to me. That's how I deal with it, but everyone deals with it differently." They went on to ask Serena, and her response is, "I feel for Naomi. Not everyone is the same. I'm thick. Other people are thin. Everyone is different and everyone handles things differently. You just have to let her handle it the way she wants to and the best way she thinks she can. That's the only thing I can say, and I think she's doing the best they can." Now, some Twitter comments were very ignorant of the whole situation. Some are saying, she's the highest paid female athlete. What should she have mental issues about? Like, money, take away your mental issue. Some other people are saying she should just play and shut up and do what she's contracted to do. Some other people are saying that they blame Serena a little bit for what Naomi's going through, because the first major match Naomi won was against Serena. That match didn't go well because Serena got into an argument with the referee, and then it just went downhill from there. And the crowd was booing. So even when Naomi won the match, the crowd was still, some were booing, some were cheering and stuff. So they were playing in New York at the time. And, New York crowd is very, very tough when it comes to US Open winnings. So, when I remember when Richard Williams had just come out and he was talking about his daughters and whatever. I have to give him kudos, because to both him and the mother, to give them the strength of character that they instilled in both Serena and Venus is awesome, because a lot of people said he was cuckoo. A lot of people laugh at him and whatever. But at the end of the day, Richard Williams is winning because his two daughters changed tennis. His two daughters show tennis player that the game can be played a different way and you can still have a life. And his two daughters are still the two strongest women in tennis 20 years later. So, yeah, I'll be watching French Open again tomorrow, but, just had to touch on that for a bit. So I've seen some comments come in, so I will just touch on those. Colleen says, longer summer for them, more rest. They rest every summer, Colleen, because they never go past the first round of a series. Marcel says, pleasant good evening to everyone. Colleen said, I feel so sorry for Naomi. She's suffering from slight mental issues. They have to see with her. She's very young. That she is. Marcel said, thanks, honey. I'm happy to be able to be here this week. Yes, missed you the last couple of weeks. Colleen says she can't afford to resign. She can't afford to resign, but they didn't think that she would, because when you get to that point where you're making that much money, you want the trophy. And this isn't a regular tennis match. There's 4 major slams of the year, and this is one of them. So this is major for her to withdraw, So Colleen says, yes, not one of the reporters can hold a racket properly. To hell with the Twitters. Clap. Yeah, the Williams are very strong ladies. That they are. Their parents did a very awesome job with that, especially with what they had to go through when they came on the scene. Colleen says, hello. Her health means more. You're exactly right. She didn't. The championship didn't matter. It didn't make a difference to her. Her health was the important factor to her. So I'm a circle to Jamaica, because I was a little bit surprised when I read this. So I was not aware that under the Pharmacy Act of Jamaica, you are not supposed to sell or be in possession of bleaching cream with the intent to sell. Recently, a Chinese businessman, Jin Wan, was fined Jamaican $610,000 or to spend 9 months in jail because he was caught in possession of bleaching cream with the intent to sell. I didn't know this was a thing, because with the amount of bleaching that goes on in Jamaica, me surprised. So yeah, that one, yeah, I was surprised. Anyways, still in Jamaica. So imagine almost dying because your boyfriend almost disembowels you, cut you up in your stomach, stab you up, beat you up, and when time comes, you got to court to beg them not to lock him up. Apparently, he's now an ex-boyfriend, so at least she have a little bit of sense to leave the man. But why would you not want to send him to prison to cut you up in, Mickey? I don't get it. Why she wouldn't want to send him go prison? Why she would not want to send him go prison? Me not get it. Colleen said them buy them rope from Andako. I said, to the amount of people who bleach at Jamaica, and to the levels where them bleach, and the amount of ads that I see, I didn't know it was a thing where you could be fined for selling bleaching cream. Me never know that. Judge should have locked she up or send her to Bellevue for admission, right? Man can almost kill her. Yeah, go tell them, say them not fi sentence him like crazy. I mean, I understand it. Me not understand it at all, but yeah. So I'm not quite sure if you guys remember this crazy lady from last year, Amy Cooper, the woman that was bird watching in the park and called police on the black man who was also bird watching in the park and then lied and pretended that he was being threatening to her. Well, when it came time to charge her, the black man did not, whose name was Cooper also, he decided not to press charges against her. However, she has now decided that she's going to sue her employers who fired her. She claims that the company's action caused her such severe emotional distress that she was suicidal. She claimed the company fired her without doing any proper investigation and portrayed her as a racist. She's seeking unspecified damages for race and gender discrimination, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress and negligence. Should be interesting. Should be interesting. Okay, so this other one cracked me up. Totally cracked me up. So this picture that's on screen is a picture that was run in an ad in North Korea and also used promoting how not to dress. So in North Korea, they have banned skinny jeans as a symbol of capitalistic lifestyle. They've also banned non-socialist haircuts and other fashion items most reported. So the leader, Kim Jong-un, has banned skinny jeans, mullets hairstyle. Well, mullet should be banned, period. And certain body piercings as symbols of a capitalistic lifestyle. It follows a state-run newspaper warning that more needs to be done to stop capitalistic culture from taking over the country. A South Korean broadcaster, Yonhap News Agency, said Rodong Sinum, the official newspaper of the North Korean government, published an article expressing concern about the young North Koreans increasingly embracing Western fashion trends. We must be wary of even the slightest sign of the capitalist lifestyle and fight to get rid of them, the article said. The new fashion rules are part of the regime's crackdown on anti-socialist behavior. The communist regime has reportedly outlawed all but 15 non-socialist haircuts and has instead issued an order on proper hairstyles, the newspaper said. So along with mullets, spiky and dyed hair are no longer authorized according to documents published by the Socialist Patriotic Youth League and seen by Rodong Sinum. I guess my hairstyle, because it's spiky and dye, it is not authorized either. Oh God, they said members of the state-run youth organization often act as the nation's fashion police, and their duties include stopping people from wearing clothes which look too foreign. So skinny jeans, nose and lip piercings, as well as branded t-shirts are also forbidden. Yep, that's North Korea. North Korea. Alrighty. Okay. So for this story, I'm going to Clarendon in Jamaica. I need enough to follow along with me, because when me read it, me did look a bit confused too. So here goes. A Clarendon man who was in 2015 sentenced to life at hard labor for incest with his teen daughter, who ironically was a child of his stepdaughter, whom he had impregnated years before. So he had his sentence reduced by the Court of Appeal to 15 years imprisonment at hard labor in a new turn of events. According to the details unveiled before the court, the child had been left with her grandmother, the man's mother, because her mother had gone overseas. He, however, took her to live with him so as to have access to her. The child, in her testimony, told the court that her father at first rubbed himself on her but did not go further. In a later incident, he, however, called her to his sleeping area, told her to undress, and had intercourse with her, after which he threatened to kill her if she told anyone. She reported the matter to a guidance counselor at her school, which led to his arrest and charge for indecent assault and incest. Shockingly, during the trial for the offenses against his child, her mother testified that he had been her own stepfather and had sexually and physically abused her when she was a child. This was his method of operation with her, and it was the same as that with her daughter. The sexual abuse resulted in a pregnancy and the birth of the same daughter that he was convicted of molesting. The woman's story was confirmed by DNA testing, which was carried out as part of the investigation into the teenager's complaint. Both mother and child testified that he would beat them when they were under his control. Despite the fact that the events with the mother had taken place before, he was convicted of 2 counts of carnal abuse in respect of those events and was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment. He was serving those sentences when he was being tried for the offenses against his daughter. Following that trial, the father, who had changed his initial not guilty plea to guilty, was sentenced to imprisonment for life at hard labor and ordered to serve 15 years before becoming eligible for parole. He was also sentenced to 5 years imprisonment at hard labor for the indecent assault. So, him sexually assault his stepdaughter, got her pregnant, the child that she had, and then that child now, years later, he sexually assaulted that child. I don't understand. I mean, like, I don't. So now he's had his sentence reduced from life, from 15 years to life at hard labor to just 15 years. And they've also charged him and sentenced him for the sexual assault and abuse of the stepdaughter years ago. And also, like that part, yeah, and then also convicted him on assault. Then him couldn't go find another woman. It bad enough say you sexually assault your stepdaughter, got her pregnant, and there's a child. When you watch the child grow now, and when the child a teenager now, you start to I hope them kill him in a prison. I hope them kill him in a prison. I hope them kill him in prison. And luckily, the daughter told her guidance counselor, luckily they believe her, so it would end that cycle. It ended that cycle of him sexually assaulting them too. It ended that cycle for him. They need to kill him in a prison. They need to kill him in prison. So let's see what the comment section says. Where the man come from, Colleen says. Colleen also says 4 years too little bit. She said, yeah, man, life good for him. 50 years before parole, nasty old wretch. Enid says life good for him. And Colleen says, him love him own blood. Same way, if it was a boy, him would do the same thing to this. You never know. You never know. You never know. Like the man, him just want, and imagine now, the daughter was with him mother, the daughter they grow with her granny, and him go take her from her granny and carry him up a female now and start to sexually assault him because now I just him and her did it. No man, him shouldn't did even him should not even live long enough to reach a prison. Somebody should have killed him before now. Somebody should have went kill him before now. Yep, but it is what it is. So we're going to circle back to Ontario. And Ontario just ended the stay-at-home order on Tuesday. It was not extended, so we're now in lockdown, but there's not much difference between the two until July 14th, when we would be entering the first step of the three-step system that the government is implementing. There was talk today that based on how the numbers are going, we may not have to wait until the 14th. So we're waiting to see what happens, because one day something and the next day it's something else. And our illustrious premier, Doug Ford, has decided that, schools will remain closed for the rest of the term and will not reopen until September. This despite him saying that he will listen to the professionals and will abide by their advice. Well, guess what the professionals said? Open school. Guess what Dougie did? Decided not to reopen the school. That's an awesome way to listen to the professionals and abide by their advice, isn't it, Dougie? Yes. So the teachers union are in an uproar. The medical people are in an uproar. Nobody's happy with Dougie right now because he's not listening to them, even though he asked for their opinion, says that he will use their opinion, and then decided, I'm not going to bother. And one of his reasoning for not reopening the school is that more students and educational workers need to be vaccinated prior to school being reopened. All I can say to these people are, how una enjoy una dollar beer, cause me still a wait for see. I just want somebody me know so far who I openly admitted that them vote for Doug, I'm going to tell him say my idiot, and him agree with me say my idiot. Other than that, me can't find nobody. Me cannot find anybody if he said them openly agree to stating that they voted for our illustrious premier. So, hey Lindsay, thanks for checking in. How are you? Hope all is going well on the work front. Illustrious. Nah, listen, only him wife him listen to. He's a politician. Thank God me no drink beer, Colleen says. Neither do I, so him never did catch me with him dollar beer. So I'm gonna go to England. Colleen said, "Buck a beer, buck them dog." That's a good one. Buck a beer, buck them dog. Okay, so a lot of things been going on in England recently. So the guy on the left is Dominic Cummings. The guy on the right, as you know, is the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. So there's an investigation into the handling of how the Conservative government in England handled COVID-19 pandemic. So Dominic Cummings was a chief advisor to Boris Johnson during that time. They have since had a falling out. So Dominic Cummings is now speaking out against Boris Johnson. And he stated that Boris's ineptitude in the handling of the COVID situation in the UK caused more people to die than should have. Yeah. He stated that Boris did not believe COVID was a serious virus and at one point wanted to be injected with the virus to prove that it was harmless. Well, see, karma have a way of biting people in the ass, because karma did one better. Karma got Boris. Boris actually caught COVID and nearly died. He spent many weeks in the hospital where he had to be given oxygen, and apparently they were getting ready to announce his death. Dominic also stated that Johnson and the British government lacked plans, brains, urgency, and leadership in dealing with the pandemic. So this is a big thing in the UK right now because, as I said, Dominic Cummings was a close advisor to Boris. Dominic Cummings was a part of the process in the handling of how the COVID pandemic was handled in England, and now he's talking against it because Imam Boris had a falling out. But can you imagine the man want to be injected with COVID with the virus because him not believe in it, and then him catch the virus and almost died from it. Anyways, moving on to North Carolina, a 10-month-old baby briefly left unattended by her father at their North Carolina home was killed last Tuesday night by a pair of family Rottweilers, according to the Johnston County Sheriff's Office. The father heard a commotion after stepping outside their Willow Spring home to move a water sprinkler. Captain Danny Johnson said, according to CNN. The father, a law enforcement officer, returned to find the baby unresponsive, Johnson stated. Deputies tried unsuccessfully to revive the child, but to no avail. Apparently, the baby was attacked by the family's pet Rottweiler, and they've reported that anytime a young child like that passes, or any child, is very hard on us. And it's unclear whether the father will face charges. The dogs are presently in animal control custody, and they're not aware of whether the dogs will be put down or not. But yeah, that's very sad. Lindsay said he was in league with Trump. Oh yeah, that was a whole thing. This next story, I found it quite interesting. So, in the UK, a drug dealer in the English city of Liverpool thought he was the big cheese until police got all the evidence they needed to arrest him from a picture he shared of himself holding a small block of creamy Stilton. So Mr. Carl Stewart on the right, 39 years old, was sentenced to 13 years and 6 months in prison at Liverpool Crown Court last week after he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply cocaine, conspiracy to supply heroin, MDMA, and ketamine, and transferring criminal property. This is the best. This is the part that I found quite interesting. They said, were it not for a photo he shared of himself holding the block of cheese, which is the picture on the right? So he was holding the block of cheese from reputable British retailer Marks and Spencer. He could still very well be supplying large amounts of drugs. So he was arrested after he posted the photo on the encrypted messaging service EncroChat via his handle, Toffee Force. So his chat name on EncroChat is Toffee Force. Alrighty then. Unbeknownst to him, the service had been cracked by police in Europe. From that picture, his palm and fingerprints were analyzed and police had their man. Myerside Police Detective Inspector Lee Wilkinson said Stewart had been caught out by his love of Stilton cheese. Stewart isn't alone in having his criminal activities brought to a premature end by his activities on EncroChat. Myerside police said around 60,000 users have now been identified worldwide, with about 10,000 of them in the UK alone. All are said to be involved in coordinating and planning the supply and distribution of drugs and weapons, money laundering, and other criminal activity. Technology are getting better and better, you know. Technology are getting better and better. You can imagine the man post the picture. This picture. And they were able to analyze his fingerprint and his palm print and arrest him. Wow. See, and everything, and every picture if you take and post it, okay, if him never post him cheese picture, they wouldn't catch him. And every picture if you take and post. So 13 years in jail for him. Anyways, I am not sure if you guys heard about the big uproar that was in Jamaica regarding Mocha Fest. Mocha Fest is an annual festival that they keep down in the west end of the island, Westmoreland, Negril, down in that area every year. So last weekend, Labor Day weekend, they decided to still keep Mocha Fest at Rick's Cafe. So backstory, there was a big uproar due to the big party Mocha Fest they had. And there was video circulating because everybody I take video, everybody a party. I show the big crowds. The picture on screen is just a small part of the crowd. Hundreds of people circulating, partying, no mask, no nothing at Rick's Cafe. Rick's Cafe is now claiming that, we acknowledged the Mocha Fest party on Thursday afternoon at Rick's Cafe. It became more crowded than expected under current protocols for entertainment venues, they said in a statement issued. They also stated that prior to entering, all people were temperature checked, hand sanitized, and face masks were required for entry. Apparently, face mask was required for entry, but not to stay, not while you're there. They deeply regret that it occurred and sincerely apologize for allowing it to happen. As a result, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie says Rick's Cafe Negril has been ordered closed for 7 days after hosting Mocha Fest. And it's also, Jamaican people know I say one rule for tourists and one rule for local. So everybody, it didn't go over well at all. The double standard and it didn't go over well. Did not go over well at all. So the 7-day closure of Rick's Cafe is also in addition to the Tourism Product Development Committee Limited withdrawing Rick's Cafe COVID-19 compliance certification with immediate effect due to the violation, which McKenzie said has caused outrage and evoked feeling of bias and differential application of the law. According to Mr. McKenzie, he wants to make it clear that no preferential treatment is being given by the government. Yeah, and apparently they could be fined up to $1 million Jamaican dollars. And I don't know, it's either that or spend a year in prison on conviction. I don't know who would spend the year in prison, who would they charge, and how they would go about doing that. But they're still stating that they're going to be levying fines against the promoter and Rick's Cafe. I'm not quite sure when or if Rick's Cafe will get back their COVID-19 compliance certificate, and if they don't, it would be hard for them to remain open, because you do need the certificate in order to open for business. So that story is still pending. Not quite sure what will happen. But Jamaica, something crazy else come up and you forget about that story and then move on to something else. Colleen says, only the light bill from Mocha Fest me hear about. Well, the light bill was $489. Oh, Lord, 100 grand. Oh, wow. That's a lot. That is a lot. But, yeah. So, we're staying in Jamaica. This lady on screen, her name is Andrea Gordon. She is the former National Commercial Bank senior manager. Senior manager accused of fleecing the bank of, it's actually over $100 million over 3 years, but they can only account for $34 million Jamaican dollars. So she was yesterday sentenced to just under 8 years in prison following a detailed sentencing exercise. This due to the fact that the varying sentences for the banker who pled guilty to all 13 counts on which she was charged will run concurrently. Gordon, on April 29th, pled guilty to 13 counts on an indictment charging her with 3 counts of larceny as a servant, 3 counts of cyber crimes, and 7 counts of money laundering before Supreme Court Judge Justice Lorna Shelley Williams in downtown Kingston. Gordon, who was employed to the bank for approximately 30 years, was at the time of her arrest and charged the manager at the bank's operations center, 29 Trafalgar Road in Kingston. So you know, say after 30 years at the bank, she have good up position, right? Yeah. And then the last recorded salary for Gordon was in the amount of just over $11.1 million annually. According to the allegations outlined before the court, internal investigations were sparked after information received revealed that Gordon's assigned password has been used to access the bank system and several transactions posted, which constituted a breach of the bank's policies. The transactions, which appeared to be fraudulent, saw funds from the bank's internal accounts being posted to Gordon's account, as well as accounts belonging to relatives and other customers. Investigations revealed, according to allegations before the court, that Gordon posted approximately 282 suspicious transactions totaling over $111 million. Actually, it's $111 million, $262, $660.21. $111,262,660.21. The transactions were done between February 2017 and May 2020. She was, however, indicted only for $34 million, as reported by the Jamaica Observer. So in 3 years, she thief enough. And one of her excuse was that she ran into difficulties with the house that she was building, with the mansion that she was building. And that's where it started. So the government will be repossessing the house. And yeah. But she said she had below, so she running a difficulty. No, imagine she's making 11 million Jamaican dollars a year. In any country, 11 million is 11 million. So even after tax, so she make Carly say little under 900,000 a month. even after tax, home girls still a go home with say about 400,000 a month, maybe 500,000 a month. And she couldn't live off of 500,000 after tax a month to try build something now, something. A 30, she have a 52 now. 30-year career down the drain and she gone to jail for 8 years. I don't get it. So Colleen says, so she has been thieving for enough years now, only get caught even 4 years. If she see black sister, she at the atrium from me just leave cast. Not quite sure. Some of these money me can't even call. Baby, she dumbstroke you. No damn exit. Man, I'm telling you. I tell you, Lindsay said kiss me teeth. Trust me, she been stealing longer than 4 years. Colleen said, I wish hotel she building now. You know, me don't remember which part she said, which part them say she not build her house. But it's a big house, because them did show the picture. Them did show it. Must have been living way beyond her means. Lindsay says, and Colleen says, the woman house run in a difficulty in a year. Enid says, our eyes too long. May I tell you, because but I may not know, me not get it. So and also part of her sentencing, because of Colleen says more than long in it, and Lindsay said they must have updated their computer systems. Possibly, and they probably didn't tell her. They probably updated it, didn't tell her, and that's how she got caught. But okay, so what do you think about it? If, as they claim, that she's been doing it since 2017 and she got caught in 2020, so we are going to say 3 years, right? And now 52 weeks in a 1 year, so we are going to say 100 and so we'll say 156 weeks in a 3 years. If my math's right, may I get old, so sometimes my math's off. And she did 282 transactions. That means that every week she had do roughly a transaction, and every week she had transfer money. Every week girlfriend had do something. Every week girlfriend had do something. Nah, man. Nah. She good. She brazen. She brazen bad. So I'm just gonna give you the moving on to COVID and Corona, and just give you my weekly update on the Corona. she get me flustered with all of what she had do. All of the money fluster me. The amount of work what she do fluster me. The amount of work she do a fluster me. My God. Wow. Yeah. Colleen says, kiss me neck, busy manager. Damn thief. Enid said she was going hard. Man. And Lindsay says, 8 years is not enough. Disparity in application of the law. And people have been talking about that recently. And one of the deputy superintendent of the public prosecutor's office has stated that Jamaica should start looking at their sentencing guidelines, because some of the sentencing guideline is not me I look for one word, but the word that come to my mind. But them I say the sentencing is not harsh enough for some of the crimes that are being committed. And I guess this would be one of the crimes, because even though they knew she took 111 million, We don't know how them arrive at the 34 million, but that's what she had charged. But even if you thief 34 million, you're supposed to get more than 8 years. I mean, I don't know how the Jamaica system stay if how much years she going to spend in jail. If I the whole 8, if a 4 half, or if it's a quarter 2 or 2/3. I don't know how Jamaica system stay away, you know? If at the whole time she have to figure stay. So I don't know how that run. But yeah. So just touching weekly corona numbers. Canada numbers are 139 million tested, 133 million recovered, 25,628 deaths. Worldwide, we're at 172 million tested, 150 million recovered, and 3.69 million died. Ontario numbers are 534,000 tested, 515,000 recovered, 8,801 died. And the Jamaica numbers are 48,638 tested, 25,485 recovered, 951 died. And I see somebody else came on. Hey, Claudette, how are you? Long time no see. Claudette says she too thief. Damn thief, she thief. Damn thief, she thief. So this is my WTF moment of the week. So a BC woman was caught driving right into a transit station to use the ATM machine. Transit Police Enforcement Team tweeted on Friday, May 28, to tell the public about the rogue vehicle that drove right past the Do Not Enter sign at the Brighouse station. The car went up onto the pedestrian sidewalk at the entrance of the building and decided to proceed into the building because she wanted to use the ATM machine. The enforcement team said that the driver's excuse was that she wanted to use the ATM machine at the bank. She never want to come out of the car for what? The distance, she just want so. This transaction netted her hundreds of dollars in fines and 4 points on her license, the police tweeted. So rather than getting money from the ATM, she ended up forking over some money due to her unusual method of entering the station. My girl never want to come out of her car if we go find park and then come in, and she just want to drive go up to show why she never find a drive-through ATM machine. I don't get people. I don't get people. I don't get people. Colleen says she forgets I drive, she drive. Lindsay said, that is what you call drive-through. And Claudette says, no, sir. But I understand why she never just find a drive-through. Here's another crazy one. A retired Southwest Airlines pilot was sentenced to probation Friday over a 2020 incident during which he engaged in inappropriate behavior, which included exposing himself. Michael Hack, the pilot, pleaded guilty to exposing his genitals to a female co-worker and watching pornography on a laptop during a flight from Philadelphia to Florida last year. He removed himself from the pilot seat after the plane reached its cruising altitude and disrobed, the prosecutors alleged. He pled guilty to the accusations brought against him after being charged in April with intentionally committing a lewd, indecent, or obscene act in a public place. He was sentenced by Judge J. Mark Colson to unsupervised probation and a $5,000 fine. Something that going in the with the pilot them lately. Last week one drop asleep. This week one pornography anima, and him take off him clothes, and him claim say, him apologize, and him claim say it started as a consensual prank between him and his co-pilot. Apparently the co-pilot never liked what I'm saying, so the co-pilot decided to report him. The pilot, them, I don't know what going on with them. I don't know what going on with them. I don't know. I don't know. Lindsay said, what the heck is happening? I haven't got a clue. Colin said he wanted a quickie before him landed. Pouring pamphlet, PPP. Colin. Colin, me need you to stop it. I need you to stop it. So, just gonna touch a little bit on, do a little bit of a history session with regards to something that's happening in the U.S. and been going on. It was highlighted last week, and you know, they've been doing stuff. So, and it's in relation to the Tulsa, Oklahoma riot. So 100 years ago, 9 white people and 68 black people died in the Tulsa riot, also known as the Black Wall Street riot. The massacre began during the Memorial Day weekend, hence why last weekend it was a huge deal, because it's 100 years since. And it began during the Memorial Day weekend after 19-year-old Dick Rowland, a black shoe shiner, was falsely accused of assaulting Sarah Page, the 17-year-old white elevator operator of the nearby Drexel building. He was taken into custody after the arrest. Rumors spread through the city that Rowland was to be lynched. Upon hearing reports that a mob of hundreds of white men had gathered around the jail where Rowland was being kept, a group of 75 black men, some of whom were armed, arrived at the jail in order to ensure that Rowland would not be lynched. The sheriff persuaded the group to leave the jail, assuring them that he had the situation under control. However, a shot was fired, and then, according to reports of the sheriff, all hell broke loose. At the end of the exchange of fire, 12 people were dead, 10 white and 2 black. As news of these deaths spread throughout the city, mob violence exploded. White rioters rampaged through the black neighborhood that night and the next morning, killing men and burning and looting stores and homes. Around noon on June 1st, the Oklahoma National Guard imposed the martial law, ending the massacre. About 10,000 black people were left homeless, and property damage amounted to more than $1.5 million. Back in them days was lots of money in real estate, and $750,000 in personal property, which is equivalent to $32.65 million in 2020. The attack, carried out on the ground and from air by private aircraft, destroyed more than 35 square blocks of the district. At that time, it was the wealthiest black community in the United States, and it was known as Black Wall Street. Many survivors left Tulsa, while black and white residents who stayed in the city kept silent about the terror, violence, and resulting losses for decades. The massacre was largely omitted from local, state, and national histories. Now, there's a lot. There's a documentary on this situation. There's a lot going on with it, because I know there was a commission that raised $30 million in the last couple of years, and none of that money was given to the descendants of the people that were killed. So there's a little bit of uproar about that as well. I think there's about 4 or 5 people still alive who were there. So I think their age, they're about 104 to between 104 to 106 age group that are still alive, because they had them out there last weekend again, because it was the 100th anniversary of the riot. So just wanted to touch on it a little bit. Black people get fight in all angles. And again, that particular situation was, what had happened was a group of Black people had, they bought their own land and they decided to be self-sufficient. They decided to spend their money amongst themselves. They had their own banks, their own grocery store. They were self-sufficient. And that was a bit of a problem for white people back then, because these were now considered to be uppity Black people. So if you've got time, Google the Tulsa Massacre, the Tulsa Riot, or the 1921 Tulsa Massacre. There's a lot of information. I got some off of Wikipedia. I got some off of a few other newspaper articles and all of that stuff. If so yeah. So just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And I'm going to fly over to UK for a bit because, the Prime Minister, he got married last week to his baby mama. So 56-year-old Boris Johnson got married recently to his 33-year-old baby mama, Carrie Johnson. His personal life has been very intriguing to the UK media due to the fact that he had a baby mama before he got divorced. So he essentially cheated on his wife of 27 years. He got divorced from his wife last year, and the baby was also born last year. What makes the wedding intriguing was the fact that he got married in a Catholic church. Now, if you don't know, Boris Johnson is now twice divorced. The Catholic Church doesn't marry divorced people. How normally, and as a former Catholic myself, this I know for sure. But they decided to, because he switched to Catholicism, they decided to have him marry in the church. And they've also stated that because his two previous marriages were not Catholic marriages, he was not married in the Catholic Church, so therefore he wasn't divorced in the eyes of the Catholic Church. So therefore those marriages do not exist in the eyes of the Catholic Church. Hence, the reason why he was able to get married in the Catholic Church. Now, if you get married in a Catholic church, you're not supposed to get a divorce. Catholic Church will not give you a divorce. They will not recognize you after a divorce. They don't want to have anything to do with you after a divorce, but they will hire the priests who, bugger little boys, but that's a whole other story. But if you get divorced and you want to remarry in the Catholic Church, you have to basically get your previous marriage annulled. And it doesn't matter if you've been married 1 year or 30 years. If you get a divorce and you want to remarry and you want to remarry in the Catholic Church, they're telling you that you need to annul your marriage. And when you annul your marriage, that means it never existed. Now you imagine, say you married to a man for 20 years. And in this case, 27 years. You have picnic with the man, you put up with all that foolishness for 27 years. And then them come tell you, say, your marriage doesn't exist because him want to marry in the Catholic Church. Right? Catholic Church is confusing. confusing. The church is hella confusing. But we'll say congratulations to the newlyweds. Right? Right. Colleen, Miss will send it to your bed. Lindsay says you got it, girl. Thank you. Colleen says Boris a hot shot at him run thing. The woman not sure how long him going to live after the COVID, so she time that not. Colleen, go to your bed. Colleen, to your bed. Straight away. Don't stop. Don't pass. Go straight to your bed. Anyways, I'm going to go to Jamaica because I discovered that Jamaica has a national surfing team that enters professional competition worldwide. They are presently in El Salvador for the ISA World Surfing Games 2021. We'll wish them well. We're in everything, so we're going to wish them luck and hope they get a medal. And let's see. Colleen says Catholic confused. Colleen, go to your bed. Angie says he made it through COVID, so okay. Okay, mommy and friends. Hey, Angie, thanks for checking in. Okay, so I'm going to go to BC for a bit, and this is a little bit in regards to a situation that's happening in Canada here. And again, white people supremacy, or their idea of their supremacy and their oppression of non-white people. So this again is a part of Canada's history. I'm just going to read a little bit on the backstory. And, so the news around the world this week was the discovery of 215 children's bodies that was found at the site of a former residential school. So for those who don't know, a residential school is a system that was set up by the government and run mostly under a Catholic order called the Oblates of Mary Immaculate, found in 1816. The last school was closed in the 1990s, so not too long ago. This system was set up for indigenous children who were forcefully taken away from their families to basically rid them of their native ways and teach them European ways. Children were severely punished if these, among other strict rules, were broken. Former students of residential schools have spoken of horrendous abuse at the hands of residential school staff: physical, sexual, emotional, and psychological. Residential schools provided indigenous students with inappropriate education, often only up to lower grades, that focused mainly on prayer and manual labor in agriculture, light industry such as woodworking, and domestic work such as laundry work and sewing. They systematically undermined indigenous, First Nations, Métis, and Inuit cultures across Canada and disrupted families for generations, severing the ties through which indigenous culture is taught and sustained, and contributed to a general loss of language and culture because they were removed from their families. Many students grow up without experiencing and nurturing family life and without the knowledge and skills to raise their own families. The devastating effects of the residential schools are far-reaching and continue to have a significant impact on the indigenous communities. The early origins of residential schools in Canada are founded in the implementation of the mission system in the 1600s. The churches and European settlers brought with them the assumption that their own civilization was the pinnacle of human achievement. They interpreted the socio-cultural differences between themselves and indigenous people as proof that Canada's first inhabitants were ignorant, savage, and like children in need of guidance. They felt the need to civilize indigenous people's education, which is a federal responsibility, and became the primary means to this end. So it's a lot, but with the discovery of the bodies, it opened up wounds that were never really healed for indigenous people. There's still people who, I mean, some of the school closed in the 1990s. So that's what, 10, 20 years ago? That's not so long ago. And I heard a couple of guys and did their interviews where their parents were a part of the school, and those parents don't know their parents. So their kids that grew up is like not knowing who their parents were, not knowing their grandparents, not having any history of themselves or their family or anything like that. And again, yes, white people come in your country and I come tell us that the ways that you grew, what you know to be good for yourself, is not good enough. You're savage and them start. So it's a whole thing. It's been going on for a while. And yeah, so they also did a list of people that they said are responsible for reconciling with the indigenous peoples of Canada, and that included the federal government. For some reason, Catholic Church is always involved in anything that is wrong and inhumane against other people. Why me not hear Anglican Church? Why me not hear Seventh Day? Why me not hear Jehovah? It's always Catholic Church. Always Catholic Church. But if you've got time to read up on it, it's very sad. It's a very emotional situation, especially when you listen to the documentaries and you listen to the people who were affected. And now to find 215 bodies in one grave. So them didn't even get a proper burial. Them just throw them in at the wall. And yeah. Yeah, if you've got time to read it and whatever, it's just like the Catholic Church is just, yeah, just sad. But I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna go to Jamaica to visit my crab farmer. Yes. Colleen, I feel we parish that one there, you know. So Trelawney crab theft. The farmer loses almost his entire cast of crab. Crab farmer Jermaine Morris. Colleen, are your family? Jermaine Morris woke up to find his backyard pen almost empty this morning. Morris says 95% of his crabs, worth about $200,000, were stolen last night, like literally last night. He was alerted by his barking dogs around 2 a.m. He went outside to look and realized that someone broke into one of his crab pens, he told the Gleaner. This is not the first time Morris's crab have been stolen, but it is the biggest hit. I know it is a product that is in great demand. It could be a case where someone was in the bush hunting and saw my crab pen and decided to steal all of them, Morris said. The 42-year-old businessman from Rock District near Falmouth, Trelawney, was featured in Tuesday's Gleaner. No, today Thursday. Them rob him Wednesday. So he was featured in Tuesday's Gleaner and then rob him Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. He had detailed plans to expand his business to ultimately tap into the export market. The farmer says his spirit is not broken and he will be seeking to secure his business against a repeat raid. I hope whatever money they got, they put it to use because this is the last time. So, me don't think that's a coincidence at all. No, I don't think that's a coincidence at all. But poor soul. Poor soul. Let's see. Cherie said dollar sign with the Catholics. Colleen says Catholic again. Cherie said the richest organization out there. That is true. Yeah, that is true. But yeah, me feel sorry for him. But hey, So June, we're in June, and June is scleroderma. Yes, Scleroderma Awareness Month. Scleroderma is a disease that's difficult to diagnose. It attacks the circulatory system, cutting off blood flow to all your extremities, resulting in gangrene and amputation. It affects the gastrointestinal tract, heart, kidneys, lungs, and esophagus. Scleroderma causes hardening, thickening, and tightening of the skin, which oftentimes causes devastating results to one's facial appearance and one's mobility. Scleroderma steals people's freedom, jobs, family, friends, and lives. It's a rare and incurable and sometimes invisible autoimmune disease. So because of this, the general public seldom hears about scleroderma. There was a girl that had it a couple of years ago. She's doing better now. So yeah, but just wanted to bring awareness to that, scleroderma. June is Scleroderma Awareness Month. So on to that was my last topic of the night. I'm going to touch onto my soul chattings of the night, and it is, your problem is not the problem. Your reaction to the problem is the problem. All right? Your problem is not the problem. Your reaction to the problem is the problem. So we are coming up towards the end of the program. As you know, I do a giveaway every week, and I will be giving away this week as well. There's be a giveaway, and this week the giveaway is the Latin coffee. It's not a detox coffee. I was told that it tastes similar to a latte. I don't drink coffee, so I have to take the words off my coffee drinkers, and they tell me that it tastes similar to latte. So I am going to, as you know, for every person who has commented. So if you're on here watching and you have not commented, drop a 1, say hi, so that you can get into the draw. I am going to do the draw and do. Let's see who wins this week. Let's see who wins this week. Enid. Enid, 2 weeks in a row. I am going to draw again. Enid won last week, so we're going to give somebody else a chance to win this week. But Enid's lucky. No, Angie, you win Enid won the week before. You win last week. No, we are drawing again. We're drawing again. We need to spread the wealth. We need to spread the wealth. We need to. Hey. Hey, Lindsay. Okay, so we'll give it to, Lindsay won the third time as a charm, so Lindsay won this week. So Lindsay, message me if you've got an address or a location you wanted to meet where I could drop it off for you. It's a week supply of the Latin tea. Colleen, why not go on your bed, Colleen? Colleen, go on your bed. Colleen, go to your bed. Anyways, I would like to thank you all for joining me tonight. Thanks for spending your Thursday evening with me. We will do it again next week, 9 p.m. Thursday night. Thank you, Enid, Wendy, Colleen, Marcel, Angie, Cherise, everybody who tapped in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you all. Later. Have a good night.